Well, hi there. We are back for another sessions of studying JavaScript live. Now, last time when I did this, I actually went through all the session without sharing my screen, and I only noticed this at the end of the live, which was really embarrassing. I think some people were watching and were like, "Why is he not showing his screen? Is he just talking about what he's doing?" So this time I'm actually because I just came back to doing YouTube again after a break of about 2 months. I think that's why I'm not so used to the mechanics of it anymore. So I'm just starting with showing my screen from the first time, so I don't forget about it. At least until I get used to it. So what I'll do this time is because we are basically going to a course on Freecodecamp, I'm going to go to the same material that I went last time so that I have it covered into a video that it is recorded. So I'll start from where I started last time and we will go through the lessons. So the time before the last time we left it at this lesson where we're basically in the regex module, and here we're running about matching characters that occur 0 or more times with regex. And they say that in the last challenge we use the plus sign to look for characters that occur 1 or more times. There's also an option that matches characters that occur 0 or more times, which is basically the asterisk or star, right? So for example, if we have these words in order, the three match calls will return the values what we call the values go, g, and null. I'm not exactly sure what they're talking about here. Am I missing something? For this challenge, Chewy cut has been initialized as the string arg behind the scene. Create a regex Chewy regex that uses the start character to match an uppercase A character immediately followed by 0 or more lowercase a characters in Chewy quote. What's going on here? I don't see any Chewy code here. Is there something wrong with the code here? Change code below this line. I'm not understanding, but I know the regex should be something like this. Should be an A because they say we should match an uppercase A immediately followed by a lowercase a 0 or more times. So to say that we want a 0 or more times, we use the star character, right? And let's run the tests, and it works. I'm not sure why it doesn't show the Chewy quote here, but it's probably assuming that it's somewhere in the program, right? And then we're matching the regex against the string, and it's basically gonna match every time where you have just an uppercase A and then A 0 or more times, right? So we run the tests. Uh, Actually, let me explain a little bit how this works here, because maybe some people might be confused about it when watching. So we can have the regex like this. Let regex equal, and we write the regex like this, and the regex would be like this, and then a 0 or more times, right? And then we have a few strings, right? Like this, maybe let words 1 equals a. right? Then let word 2 equals just uppercase A. Then let word 3 equals to A and then A, and then maybe let word 4 equals to BC maybe, right, which doesn't have any of that pattern. So now if we console log word 1, let's put here A, B, here A, B, let's just add something that's not part of the pattern, right? And if we say word 1 match, and we match the regex, let's see what we get back because we console log it, right? So I will do here node code, and as you can see what we get this thing. It basically matches this. The input is this AAB because this is the word, and the match that it found is this one at index 0 because it starts at the beginning. If we put a letter here and we do that again, clear, you can see that the index is 1 because indexes start from 0 and this is at position 1. So it finds this pattern, which is basically an uppercase A followed by lowercase a. Now if I use here words 2, which is this one, it will find just the A because it works with just an uppercase A and then no lowercase a because it's 0 or more lowercase a. So if I do that, it will find the uppercase A, as you can see, right? Now regex are very useful, especially in JavaScript, especially when you're using with replace, because for example in this word, if we want to make another word from this one where we replace this pattern that we did, we replace it with maybe a line, right? So then we will say console log word 1 replace, and to replace you can pass the regex, which is the pattern, right? And you can replace it with the align, right? So if I do that, what do you think I will get? I will basically get B followed by a line because this pattern will be replaced with a line and then B, right? So let's see this. You see B, line B. So basically you can match with regex different patterns in your word and replace them with something else. And also sometimes you can have here in replace, you can have like a function which you use different matches that you have to manipulate the word, but we're getting ahead of ourselves now. I just wanted to exemplify how these matches are working. Right, so let's go ahead. Now here it says find characters with lazy matching. And they say in a regular expression, a greedy match finds the longest possible part of a string that fits the regex pattern and returns it as a match. The alternative is called a lazy match, which finds the smallest possible part of the string that satisfies the regex pattern. So for example, if you match this if you apply this regex, which is T, and then any letter from A to Z 0 or more times, and then E, and then I, right, to the string Titanic, this regex is basically a pattern that starts with T, ends with I, and has some letters in between, 0 or more. And naturally they say that they are greedy, they will be greedy, so basically it will find the longest pattern that it can. So when you're looking in Titanic, it will find Titani because it starts with T and ends with I, but sometimes you may want to find the shortest one, so basically you will make it a lazy one, which will basically find T and I because it starts with T, ends with I, and has 0 or more in between. So you can use the question character to change it to lazy matching. So you do something like this. You would have t and then this pattern, and then you say this pattern but lazy, right? So you say the shortest one that it can find before it finds an I, right? And it will return this one. And here they say, because they will do something like this here, they say parsing HTML with regular expression should be avoided, but pattern matching an HTML string with regular expression is completely fine. So if you want to match something, it's completely fine. So here it says fix the regex, this one, which is like kind of a bracket like this, I don't know how you call it. And then this is the character for matching anything 0 or more times. And then this, and we need to fix it to return the HTML tag h1 and not the text h1 winter is coming h1, right? Because here the way it does it here, because normally it's greedy one, it will find this one here at the beginning, and then it will be greedy and it will go from here to the last of this one that it finds. It will find all these characters and then this one, and it will return the whole thing, right? But you want to only go until the first character like this, right? So we would want here to basically add a question mark, and that will make it lazy, and instead of going from this one to this one, it will just go from this one to the first one that it finds, and it will return this, right? So we just need this question mark here to make it lazy. All right, I'm just gonna have a drink because I'm talking way too fast and my mouth is getting dry. So here it's some kind of exercise, and they say find one or more criminals in a hunt. So they say time to pause and test your new regex writing skill. A group of criminals escaped from jail and ran away, but you don't know how many. However, you do know that they stay close together when they are around other people. You are responsible for finding all of the criminals at once. Here's an example to review how to do this. The regex z plus matches the letter z when it appears one or more times in a row. It would find matches in all of the following strings. This one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. But it does not find matches in the following strings since there are no letter z characters in these ones. And here it says write a greedy regex, so basically you don't have to make it lazy, you just leave it to be greedy, that finds one or more criminals within a group of other people. A criminal is represented by the capital letter C. So what you would want is to find C one or more, so C plus, you don't want 0 or more, you want 1 or more. And I think we need to make this global so it can find all the criminals. So let's run the tests. And yeah, so basically we make it global because in case we have something like this, I don't know if this exercise works without globals as well. Let's try it. Yeah, it seems it's working without global as well, but if you actually want to find all the criminals, if they are separated, then you have a string like this, right? And then this and this, and maybe this and then this. If you want to find these criminals and then this criminal and then these criminals, you would have to need something like global, because when you have a regex, it only finds the first sequence, the first match, unless you say to be global, right? But it seems that they're just looking for one time here. All right, submit and go to the next challenge. All right, ask me later. Now here it says match beginning string patterns. Prior challenges show that regular expression can be used to look for a number of matches. They are also used to search for patterns in specific positions in strings. In an earlier challenge, you use the caret character like this inside the character set to create a negated character set in the form things that will not be matched. So like for example, a character set is something like this. When you say something from A to Z, you want to match anything that's a letter from A to Z, but if you use this inside, it will basically match everything that's not a letter from A to Z, right? Okay, but this can also be used outside of a character set, and it's basically used to say that that's where the beginning of the string would be. So it's basically used to search for patterns that are found at the beginning of strings. Uh, I wonder if something wrong went wrong with the website, with this website, because before all these were on different line, and now they show on the same line. So I'm wondering what's going on. That's weird. I'm wondering if some developer messed up something, because this should be. Let me try and refresh, but I think there's a mistake at the moment. Yeah, something's wrong. But anyway, um, it, here it says to use the character in a regex to find call only in the beginning of the string recurring call. So, for example, if we had call more times in here, we should find it only the one at the beginning, so only if it's at the beginning. So the way you do that, normally you would just say call and you would find where it finds call wherever in the string. But if you wanted to find it only if it's at the beginning of the string, you want to basically put this like this, and it means this is the beginning of the string, and I want you to find this pattern only if it's at the beginning of the string, right? So let's run the tests, and this works. And now this is the opposite of that. We're using basically the dollar character to find patterns only if they're at the end of the string, right? And I will show you here. If you have, let's say, the word Remo, and we're looking for the pattern MO, right, like this, and we're saying regex equals, and we're saying console log word 1 match regex. Let's put this somewhere in the middle of the word. So I'm just gonna make something weird, right? And I'm looking for mo, which is here, right? Somewhere in the mid, somewhere inside the word, right? So if I'm matching that, it will find this, because it's just saying just look for it anywhere, right? So it finds this, right? But now if I put this at the end of this pattern, I'm saying this should be only if it's at the end of the string. So the end of the string should be after the mo, right? Then when I do this match, what do I get? I get null, because it doesn't find this match at the end of the string. But if I put a match like this, like mo at the end of the string, then it will find it, right? I'm trying this again. Let's make this smaller in case some people may not see it. I'm just saying this, and now it finds it at index 14, which is from here to here. It finds it at the end, right? All right, so here we just want to say we want to match caboose only if it's at the end of the string. So we say caboose at the end, right? All right. So let's submit and go to the next challenge. Now it says match all letters and numbers. Using character classes, you are able to search for all letters of the alphabet with A to Z. This kind of character class is common enough that there is a shortcut for it, although although it includes a few extra characters as well. The closest character class in JavaScript to match the alphabet is this. So it's basically a line like this, and lowercase w. This shortcut is equal to this character class. All the letters from A to Z uppercase, all the letters from A to Z lowercase, all the digits from 0 to 9, and this underscore character, right? Now this character class matches upper and lowercase letter plus numbers. Note this character class also includes the underscore character. And unfortunately for this one, I think, like I said, I think they have an error at the moment, and they're showing this like this. Let me check if this is also true in Firefox. But I think I'm not logged in Firefox. I'm not logged into the. Let's see what's going on. I'm not even sure with what email I'm logged in into this one. But it seems the mistake is also here, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on. But I'll just go through this one and just explain here what I'm doing. So here it says use the shorthand character class, this one that we just learned, to count the number of alphanumeric characters in various quotes and string. So here basically we have to match with this character class, right? And we have to match it globally because we want to find them all. So basically we want to find this character class v like this, well, and then we want globally. And with this regex, then we match, basically we match in this, and then we get the length of the array that is returned, right? So let's run the test. So we're basically just using the class that we have just learned, and this matches all the alphanumeric characters, and then it finds the length of the array of the matches that it found, right? And we have to use the global flag to get all of them. And here, if you want to match everything but letters and numbers, you just use the same, only the W is uppercase. So this would match everything that's not a letter, a number of underscore characters. So here they say use the shorthand character class uppercase W to count the number of non-alphanumeric characters in various quoted string. So here is the same like in the one before. We basically just say this regex and we want globally, and that's it. We just run the tests. Okay, now also we have a character class that's, instead of just having a character class that says from 0 to 9, we have something shorter, for especially for all from 0 to 9, because the character classes, you can use them, you can have something from 0 to 6, and then you would have just digits from 0 to 6. But if you have 0 to 9, you have something shorter, which is this one that we are learning now, like this, like the, which basically says all digits, right? So this is equal to the character class 09, which looks for a single characters of any number between 0 and 9. So here it says use the shorthand character class D to count how many digits are in movie titles. Written out numbers like 6 instead of 6 do not count. So like before, we just have to use this character class that we have learned globally, right? Here we're basically just learning a lot of regex syntax, and of course if you want to match all non-numbers or all non-digits, you again have like the same. Instead of lowercase, you have uppercase, and then you would match everything that is not a digit from 0 to 9. So here it says use the shorthand character uppercase D to count how many non-digits are in movie titles. So again we use this uppercase D globally, and we find all the everything that's not a digit, right? Right. It's very quiet today. I think there's one person watching. That's what my software is showing. But we're studying together, and that's nice. This is going to go on YouTube on the live events playlist, so people can watch it later if they want. All right. So do say hello if you'd like to say hello, and I'll read your comment at some point. So here it says restrict possible usernames. This is another kind of challenge. And it say usernames are used everywhere on the internet. They are what give users a unique identity on their favorite sites. You need to check all the usernames in a database. Here are some simple rules that users have to follow when creating their username. Usernames can only use alphanumeric characters. The only numbers in the username have to be at the end. Alright. There can be 0 or more of them at the end. Username cannot start with a number. Username letters can be lowercase and uppercase. Username have to be at least 2 characters long. A 2 character username can only use alphabet letters as characters. So here it says change the regex user check to fit the constraint listed above. Okay, so we're just basically gonna say, okay, we have the beginning here, the beginning of the username, and then we have to have, it says it has to be at least 2 characters long, and if it's just 2 characters, um, they should both be letters. So we can say, okay, we need something like where it starts with a letter from A to Z, uh, A to Z and A to Z, something like this. Mm, or maybe I can say A to Z and say that it is case insensitive. Okay, so I can say A to Z and then another one from A to Z. So we have two, and then we can have digits. So basically digits which can be 0 or more, and this is one case. So 0 or more, we use the star, and then we have this. uh, I'm wondering if this should be at the end or before. Anyway, let's try like this. So we're saying one option is to have it like this, where you have 2 letters and then 0 or more digits, and another option is where you have, so we can say or starting here, and then we have A to Z, and then digit, and then digit one or more, I think, digit plus, right? And then here is the end. I'm probably messed this up, but let's try it out. Okay, this doesn't work. Why did I mess up? I wonder if this should be, oops, wait, let's go back and let's make this case insensitive. Okay, so I'm missing some things. Options 11. A to Z, I think it's A to Z one or more here. Yeah. So here we have to add a plus, right? Because we can say that it can, yeah. So let's try this. What's going on? It says running tests, but it doesn't do nothing. Yeah. So this one more. So let's explain this again. So basically we have two options. One where we have at least two letters and then zero or more digits, where we say that if it has zero, if it has only two, then both of them should be. Thank you for the like, much appreciated. Then both of them should be letters, but it can be more than two letters, right? And then we have one where we have just one letter and then two or more digits, right? So we have two options. That's why we use the or. So let's run the test and do let me know in the if you'd like to try and explain a little bit more that one. All right. Now here it says match white space, and it says the challenges so far have covered matching letters of the alphabet and numbers. You can also match the white space or spaces between letters. You can search for white space using the uh, using this one, right? Which is basically a character class or something like that. This pattern not only matches white space but also carriage, return, tab, form, feed, and new line characters. Now, a lot of this you're probably not going to deal with that much. You're mostly going to use it for matching spaces and new line characters, maybe. So you can think of it similar to the character class, where you have all these things, right, in one character class. Um, so here it says change the regex count white space to look for multiple white space characters in a string, right? Um, so here you just use you say multiples, so it's one or more. So you use the class, and then you want to say one or more, right? Oh, and I think we need to look globally. Yeah, they wanted us to look globally for all of the spaces. Okay, match non-white space character. So basically this is looking for everything that's not white space. So again, it's the opposite. And because it's like a letter character class, then obviously the obvious the opposite of that is basically uppercase S, which will match all the non-white space characters. So we're just matching all the non-white space with this character class globally. Nothing but net. All right. Okay, so we're getting into the nice stuff here. It says specify upper and lower number of matches. So recall that you use the sign plus to look for one or more characters and the asterisk to look for zero or more characters. These are convenient, but sometimes you want to match a certain range of patterns. You can specify the lower and upper number of patterns with quantity specifiers. Quantity specifiers are used with curly brackets like this. You put two numbers between the curly bracket for the lower and upper number of patterns. For example, to match only the letter A appearing between 3 and 5 times in the string AH, your regex would be like this: A, which should appear between 3 and 5 times, so any of those, like A 3 times or A 4 times or A 5 times, would be matched if it exists, and then followed by an H, right? So here it says change the regex of regex to match the entire phrase of no only when it has 3 to 6 letter H's. So it should be something like oh with H appearing between 3 and 6 times. So what you want to do here is I'm going to copy this, and we want to merge this only when h would appear here between 3 and 6 times, right? So we're saying between 3 and 6 times. All right, so this works, and this is obviously useful because sometimes you want to like only match like uh, a, a, a pattern which has a certain length, right? And like you will see when we go next, you're gonna be able to specify something like 3 or anything more, so you don't specify something. So here we just have from 3 to 6. Okay, and here specify only the lower number of matches, which is what I was talking about. You can specify the lower and upper number of patterns with quantity specifier using curly brackets. Sometimes you only want to specify the lower numbers of pattern with no upper limit. So like I was saying before, thanks a lot for the like, is much appreciated. It will help YouTube recommend this content to more people that would like to watch this. Um, so basically, it's exactly what I was saying before, and it's saying change the regex hey regex to match the word haza only when it has 4 or more letter z's. So we want to match this only when it has 4 or more. So if you want to have 4 or more z, how you call this, you basically say 4 and anything more than that, right? So you just have like a comma here and that's it. So we run the tests and that matches. And of course sometimes you want to specify exact number of matches, or like saying how many times it should appear. And I will not read all this, but if you want to specify exactly, like I want exactly 4 m's to appear or exactly 100 m's, then here it says change the regex to match the word timber only when it has 4 letter m's, so only when it appears 4 times. So what you want to do there is have timber, you're trying to look for this, but m should be 4 times. And this is obviously useful because let's say you want to have somewhere where it matches 100 times. You would obviously be able to write timber with 100 m's, but that would take a long time to make a register like that to match that, right? So instead of that, you just say team, and then you say m should appear 4 times here, right? Because that's what it says here, right? And like I said before, this is useful when you want to, this is especially useful in JavaScript when you want to do like a replace, and regex are very useful for that in JavaScript, and also they're useful with split as well, because you can use a regex with the split method as well. Like for example, how would you split like a regex makes it really useful for different kind of things, like for example, if you have a sentence like this, right? Let sentence equal something is happening, right? And now with the split method, for example, we can use it to split by uh, at a character or like at a string, right? So we can say console log, and when you use the split method, it basically splits into an array. So we say console log sentence, and we want to split at the spaces, right? We basically say sentence split by space, and what's going on is going to split the string everywhere where there is a space, and it will return the other segments between the spaces, right? Beside the spaces, right? So if I say here node code, if I run this, you get this array, something is happening. But how would you do it if you actually want in this array to actually include the spaces as separate things, as separate elements in the array, because you want to retain the spaces in the position that they appear. So this you would easily be able to do this with a regex by splitting by a regex. And in the regex, when you want to say a space, it's is that um, how was it called, white space, the white space one, which is basically an s like this with this at the beginning. But if you want to keep that, because at the moment if you just, oh, what's going on here, if you just, what am I doing here? Okay, this is something weird happening when I'm saving. It's basically um, it's basically repeating this. So I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna say let regex equals this, because maybe this is something that's it messes up. All right, I'm gonna say the regex is this one, right, which is a space. What is going on here? This is some really weird behavior. Split by regex. Okay, this is very weird. What is going on? Oh wait, is this the other way around? Yeah, I was writing the regex the the wrong way. So basically, this is how you write the regex, with these lines, right? And we want to split by this regex, which at the moment is still a space, because that's how you would match a space in regex. So at the moment, if we're doing this, we're still splitting by spaces, but we're not retaining the spaces. But if I put this as a match, that I want this as a match, this will actually work, and we get the spaces as well, as you can see, right? So there's like a lot of useful things you can do with regex, with splitting and with replace. So yeah, we did this one. All right, let's go further and see what they have next for us. Sometimes the pattern you want to search for may have parts of it that may or may not exist. However, it may be important to check for them nonetheless. So here it says you can specify the possible existence of an element with a question mark. So it says that element may be there or may not be there. But if it's there, I want it must. But it may not be there, right? So here you say you can specify the possible existence of an element with a question mark like this. This checks for 0 or 1 of the preceding element. You can think of this symbol as saying the previous element is optional. For example, there's a slight difference in American and British English, and you can use the question mark to match both spellings. So for example, in American we have like color, and in British color, and you can use like to match both words, you can use like color, but after you put a question mark where you say the u is optional. It can be there or it may not be there, right? So here it says change the regex to match both the American English favorite and the British English favorite version of the word. So here we want to say to match both of them like this. We say favorite, but the u is optional. So you say it may be there or it may not be there, right? And in case you're wondering, this stays so long on 97. We keep going the lesson, but it's still saying on 97 complete, because I already went through these lessons one time last time when I did a live, but something unfortunate happened and the whole duration of the live I was not showing my screen. So I decided to do this again, because we're basically going through the whole course on Freecodecamp, and I want all of them to be recorded where I'm actually showing my screen. So that's why I'm going to it one more time. All right, so here it says positive and negative look ahead. Look aheads are patterns that tell JavaScript to look ahead in your string to check for patterns further along. This can be useful when you want to search for multiple patterns over the same string. There are two kinds of lookaheads, positive lookahead and negative lookahead. A positive lookahead will look to make sure the element in the search pattern is there but won't actually match it. A, a positive lookahead is used as this. So it's basically question mark equal and then whatever we're looking in the lookahead, where the dots is the required part that is not matched. So it's basically not matched, but it's looking for it to be there. Otherwise, it's not matching anything, right? On the other hand, a negative lookahead will look to make sure the element in the search pattern is not there. So a negative lookahead is like this, right? Instead of this, it's like this, where the dots is the pattern that you do not want to be there. The rest of the pattern is returned if the negative lookahead part is not present. So here I give us some example. So for example, we have this word QU and now QT, and we have this regex Q and this positive lookahead where it's looking for U to be present, and here we have Q and then this where it's looking for U not to be present, and then we have quit match this regex, and then we have no quit match the other regex. So, and what they're saying is when we're matching this regex against this one, it will find the Q because, and it will return the Q as a match because it has looked ahead and U is present. And we're matching this one against the regex where it's looking for U not to be there. We are also finding the Q because looking ahead, it doesn't find the U, so it returns the Q because U is not present, right? So there's like positive look ahead is checking for something to be there, and if that something is there, then it returns the match that it will be returned. And for negative look ahead is checking for something not to be there, and if it's not there, it returns it, but if it's there, it doesn't return nothing, right? So here it says a more practical use of look ahead is to check two or more patterns in one string. Here is a naively simple password checker that looks for between 3 and 6 characters and at least one number. So here is saying is looking for between 3 and 6 characters, right? And at least one number. So it's looking that there is at least one number. So basically it is looking for 0 or more not numbers and then at least one number, right? Again, this, like last time, I'm still not sure about it. Why are you looking for this as well? But regex was made to be very confusing. Okay, why did you send me back? I just pressed the back button. Okay. So here it says use lookahead in the password regex to match passwords that are greater than 5 characters long and have 2 consecutive digits. Right? So we're basically looking greater than 5 characters long. So we're basically having a lookahead which is looking for characters and have. I'm wondering if this works with this which matches everything, right? I need here an equal because I'm looking, and it should be between 5 and anything more, right? And then I need another look ahead which is basically looking for uh, D 0 or more times, and then it's looking for D and then D again because it needs 2 consecutive digits, right? So let's run the tests. Your regex should not match the string 1 2 3 4 5. Okay. Oh, it should be greater than 5. So starting from 6, I think. Yeah. So it's greater, not equal or greater. Okay. Now here it says check for mixed grouping of characters. Sometimes we want to check for groups of characters using a regular expression, and to achieve that we use parentheses like this. If you want to find either penguin or pumpkin in a string, you can use the following expression. It starts with P, then we have either NU or umpkin, and then we look for this globally, right? By using the test method. Okay, so here it says fix the regex so that it checks for the names of Franklin Roosevelt or Eleanor Roosevelt in a case sensitive manner, and it should make concession for middle names. So we could have some middle names there. Then fix the code so that the regex that you have created is checked against my string, and either true or false is returned depending on whatever the regex matches. So first the regex should be something like this. We have either Franklin or Eleanor. So we have Franklin or Eleanor. Then we have dot 0 or more times, because we can have something in between. And then we have Roosevelt, I think it is. Okay, so we basically have either this or this, and then 0 or more of any characters, and then we have Roosevelt, and then we have 2. It says is checked against my string, so we say my string match. Actually we need to test it, so we need to say, I think, my regex text, because when you on strings you have the match method to match regexes, and on regexes you have the test method to test a string against it, right? So we can say my regex test, and we test the string against it, right? And we test my string, right? And that will work. Okay, all right. Here it says reuse patterns using capture groups. Some patterns you search for will occur multiple times in a string. It is wasteful to manually repeat the regex. There is a better way to specify when you have multiple repeat substrings in your string. You can search for repeat substring using capture groups. Parentheses like this are used to find repeat substring. You put the regex of the pattern that will repeat in between the parentheses. Alright? So to specify where that repeat string will appear, you use a backslash and then a number. This number starts at 1 and increases with each additional capture group you use. An example would be 1, like this, to match the first group. So here it says we have a string like this, a regex, where they're both the same, right? And then we have this regex which basically matches any alphanumeric characters 1 or more times, and it matches that. And then after that we have a space, and after that we should have the same thing that we matched before 1 more time, right? Because 1 is for the first match, right? So if we're testing this, then it will be true, because then we're basically matching regex and then space and then the same thing, right? So here it says using the match method on a string will blah blah blah. Anyway, it says use capture groups in regex to match a string that consists of only the same number repeated exactly 3 times, separated by single spaces, right? So basically it should be a number which is repeated 3 times, separated by spaces. So first we need we know that we need parentheses to basically make a match, and here we want to say that this is a number, so it's basically a digit repeated one or more times, so we use the plus, and then we have a space, right? And then we have the same thing as that we had before, so we use the 1, and then we have a space, and then 1. And the thing is, we need to look for only for ones that have like this 3 times. So if we just use it like this will find a number like this somewhere in the string, but it says that the string should only consist of those, so this shouldn't be somewhere in the string, this should be the full string, right? So because of that, we want to put the this should find this at the beginning of the string, and the string should end after this one, right? Okay, so let's run the tests, and that works. Okay. Okay, so here we have, it says use capture groups to search and replace. Searching is useful, however, you can make searching even more powerful when it also changes or replaces the text you match. You can search and replace text in a string using replace on a string, which is something we've talked just a little bit before. And they say the inputs for replace is first the regex pattern you want to search for. The second parameter is the string to replace the match, or a function to do something. Like we said, sometimes we can use a function. So here we have a text like this, the sky is silver, and we have a regex like this, which is silver, which basically matches for silver. So then if we replace, we get the text and we replace on it silver regex, which is silver with blue, then this sentence would become the sky is blue, because we're replacing silver with blue. Here it says you can also access capture groups in the replacement string with the $sign like this, right? So here if we're having like capture groups, like because you're using these parentheses, we're basically matching for a word and then a space and then another word. Now these capture groups can be accessed with 1 because it's the first one, and this with second. So when you're basically replacing this with this, you're basically saying in this string I want the second match here, which would be this one, then a space, and then the first match. So what this will do will actually reverse the two words, right? So here it says write a regex, fix regex using 3 capture groups that will search for each word in the string 1 to 3. Then update the replace text variable to replace 1 to 3 with the string 3 to 1 and assign the result to the result variable. Make sure you are utilizing capture groups in the replacement string using the $sign syntax. So here we would look for this being the beginning of the word, then we're looking for a word, right, plus, because it needs to be a word, right, and then we have a space, then we have another word, and then we have a space, and then another word, and then the end of the string, right? And here it says replace text, and so basically this will be the regex that we use, and the replace text we want to basically have 3 to 1 instead of 1 to 3. So to have 3 to 1, because these matches will actually be 1 for this one, 2 for this one, and 3 for this one, we just need to put here like this the third match, and then space, the second match, and then the first match, right? So basically in this string replace this regex which matches this with this matches like this, right? All right, so I think this is where I will stop for today at the 1 hour limit, and we will do another one on Saturday somewhere around 5 p.m. UK time. I don't know what time you are, but it will be around 3 hours earlier than it is now. So it would basically be somewhere 3 hours before the hour that it is now. And we will continue from where we left off here. I think we will have a lot of interesting time then. If you're watching now and you didn't already give a like, I would appreciate one. And I'll see you next time. Have a good evening and bye bye.